Windows will be Windows. You can't stop it. In the United States alone, there are about 322 million people. There are approximately 253 million cars in the United States. Now, if you think about 30% of the people that are under the age of 16 that can't drive, you get about 226 million people. These were according to HIS Automotive. That means there are more people, there are more cars than there are people to be driven. Now, I'm going to tell you why you should consider not owning a car. And I'm going to start with the obvious. Owning a car is very expensive. According to the American Public Transportation System of 2019, from Los Angeles to New York, it costs an average of $15 to $40 a day to park. That's every single day. And that doesn't even include anything like gas. If you were to take the average college student, which the Highway Administration did in 2015, they found out that they drive an average of 15,000 miles per day at, say, 20 miles per gallon, which is pretty, I don't know, I think it's pretty nice to give. At about 216 per gallon, which was the average for a while, that's $1,600 every single year you spend in gas. Then if you take in insurance, which is, I mean, that starts at about $1,000. If you're lucky, you're paying about $1,000. And then with maintenance, you have to do here and there. And with your parking fees, you get upwards, of $3,200 to $4,000 every single year you pay. You don't really think about it because it goes slowly throughout the year, and eventually you've just spent it. And you know what? And that's for a cheap car. Living in the UP with a cheap car that's unreliable, I mean, that sucks. You don't want to get stuck on the side of the road. So, but for you, maybe the issue isn't money. Maybe you have a nice car. I went and I interviewed Andrew Walsh, one of the head executives of EY, and he was talking to me about how he owns 3 very nice cars, and he never drives them. He just retired. So he's got 3 nice cars that he puts maybe 15 miles every couple of days to go get groceries, to go out to eat. Doesn't do anything. This got me thinking, there's got to be better alternatives than just owning a car. And of course, you have mass transit. Everybody kind of knows about mass transit. You can get equal rates. It gets pretty cheap when you're on a schedule, but the biggest problem is you want to go where you want to go when you want to go there, right? So that's kind of where autonomous vehicles come in. In December of last year, there was a whole bunch of universities that released a bunch of brand new information on autonomous vehicles. Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford released 2, and those are pictures of theirs. Virginia State University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology also released theirs, and they got a lot of stuff on theirs. And then Cornell released their own car, which almost looks completely normal. And even Oshkosh released this huge truck, and it's completely autonomous. It drives itself in and out of work sites and just gets picked up, and no one has to drive it. It's pretty cool. Now, how many of you all used Uber, or I guess heard of Uber? Did you know that Uber has autonomous vehicles in their fleet in San Francisco now? No? They actually have a driver in there that takes an input from the customer where they want to go, greets them, and then they just set it and the car drives itself to where they need to go. If they need to maneuver anything, but mostly they're there to see if anything's wrong, they can take it back into the shop and get it maintained, and it's pretty unique, and it's a cool way to show people that it's not just something that we talk about, but it's something more that is here today. But there's a company that actually goes beyond Uber, and that's Autonomy. Autonomy in Singapore is actually a completely autonomous taxi service that was just released as of last year. You go on your cell phone, you just grab your cell phone, pull it out, you hit your location, you say, I need to be picked up. A car shows up with nobody in there, picks you up, and you're on your way, which is pretty cool. And they're moving this into more and more countries, and I think the biggest problem is that the United States right now has a lot of bans. I mean, you can't have autonomous vehicles in Michigan right now, but that is coming. Something that is in the US right now is Car2Go. And Car2Go is an app with some autonomous, some not, where cars are located all around. You can pull out your phone, you can say, I want to rent this for this many miles, I want to rent it for a day. You can do whatever you want. And some of them are little cars like that, super efficient cars, and some of them are more fancy. But to many people, having a car isn't just about convenience. We live in America, and having a car is a face. It's a face that you have. You get so used to, owning a nice car means I have this amount of business. But what if you could, per se, what if I could say that you could rent Mercedes-Benz from Car2Go for an entire day, for your interview, for a date, for whatever you want to do, and it's only going to cost you $70. And the coolest thing is, these things are just parked around. There's no shop, you just load it up on your phone and you're good to go. You don't lose image, and you save money while decreasing the number of cars that are around. But what does the future have in store for you? Owning a car is the one thing that everybody dreams of, but the dream isn't really that new. Having a phone 20 years ago was not really a dream. In fact, most people didn't think about it. And I believe that by the next generation, that dream is going to change yet again.